What's going on, guys? It's RMP. Welcome back as the reigning champion Newcastle United is taking on Tottenham in a fourth round League Cup clash, with the winner heading into the quarter-final, which means one game off a two-legged semi-final and 2 rounds off potentially our third Carabao Cup final in the past 4 years, which is an outstanding return on a team that historically never ever got to cup finals in my lifetime. I'm looking forward to this game. 2 Champions League sides, of course, 2 teams that are going to be heavily rotating, and it's going to be a match where, in terms of a home tie, not an easy game for Newcastle, but the fact it is a home tie, I think, is the story. I think it is a big moment for Newcastle. I think we should be going through tonight. We'll speak to Harry first off, of course, a Tottenham fan heading into the game. Let's see what he has to say.
What's happening, people? Harry Scarf here, football content creator, YouTuber, and also football writer. Thank you, Adam, for having me. So, score prediction in this game. I've got to back my side Tottenham, but at the same time, I recognise that James's Park is really a tough place to go. I think, Newcastle, often I feel when you go there, they have 12 players, it feels like, with the fans, the atmosphere. It's what I'd call really hostile, almost, and difficult and intimidating place to go. And Tottenham's record at St James's Park is a topic of conversation that I completely want to avoid. It's coming down the scoreline, but still not looking good. So I back my side, but that's more through, heart than head. I'm going to go 1-1 for me. Either way, I'm convinced this somehow does go to penalties, because neither side want that with busy fixtures. Obviously, both being in the Champions League, both got league games at the weekend. So, yeah, 1-1 for me. And I think Tottenham will win it 4-3 on penalties. But wish you all the best, Newcastle, for the rest of the season. They're a top club, and I used to have the pleasure to write football articles for them. So thanks, Adam. All the best to you and the channel, also Newcastle United.
Now, I'm hoping he's not correct on that. I do have to admit, a penalty shootout tonight after a 1-1 draw would just be the death of me. I'm hoping we don't go to penalties. I think Newcastle does just about do it inside 90 minutes today. It's going to be a tricky one. It's just going to be a tight game where both teams are going to look to exploit on their weaknesses. And for us, you've got to treat it with real respect. Eddie Howe spoke well about it. Bruno spoke well about the competition going into it and how much of a huge occasion it is for Newcastle to win so well last season. We are the holders. You've got to try and do it again. Of course, we have to. For us, it is a realistic game. For all due respect to Tottenham, they're a good side. Thomas Frank will do wonders with them, and I think Tottenham will have a few very good years together. But it's our night tonight. I'm confident. I'll back Newcastle all the way. So make sure, guys, if you're new around here, get down there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, back here again midweek in the Champions League clash at St James Park. Can't wait for it. I love that, by the way.
Come on, Newcastle, come on.
Hope so, mate. Hope so. Yes, I'll back Newcastle all the way tonight. I think we do just about head into the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup. Introduce yourself.
I'm James, I'm a Newcastle United fan. I'm going to say 2-0 Newcastle.
Have you goal scores of mine? You think we'll rotate a lot?
Right. If Eddie decides to rotate the squad, I'll say Ramsdale starts in goal. And obviously we've got West Ham on Sunday. And obviously if Eddie rests Big Nick for tonight, then Wissa will have a chance up front. But if Nick starts, I think I'll grab a couple of goals tonight, but if Wissa starts, then, to be honest, if we play the same squad against Fulham on Saturday, then bring on Wissa for Yoane, and then he'll pressure on the goalkeeper against Spurs. But I've been watching Spurs quite a lot, and then obviously they won their game, and then but I really think we can get through. But obviously we need to defend our cup, so I'll say a 2-0, Wissa double, hopefully fingers crossed. But if Yoane starts, then come on, the fucking team! 3-0. 3-0. I'll say 3-0.
Wissa getting pure mobbed around there. just want to see him play for us, to be honest. The most I've seen of him so far is just him getting mobbed up some lads as he, of course, heads inside the stadium today to watch the game.
Number 8, Sandro Tonali.
Just seen the lineup there and the bench, proper team tonight. A couple of rotated players in there, but Ramsdale, Kraft and Alanga, the three big changes for Newcastle. Looking forward to seeing this team today. I do properly back us. I tell you what, I can't wait to see Yoane Wissa play for Newcastle. You just seen before get mobbed by the fans as he head inside the stadium today. To of course watch us in the stands, and hopefully one of Wissa does get the opportunity to play for us. He remembers that interaction, all the fans mobbing him in the back of his head, and I'm hoping he clicks it and just gets on straight away for Newcastle, because we need that from him. A player with a lot of quality. This is your big move, son. You wanted this move, you got it. Show us how much you want it when you're on that pitch, and make sure you're at St James's Park, you get the job done. A final message, of course, remembrance tributes will be taking place ahead of the game today against Tottenham. Unfortunately, of course, we've got the game against Athletic Club next week at St James's Park, but under your UEFA guidelines, it's believed that you're not allowed to actually show the poppies, to show that kind of tribute during the Champions League, which I think is meant to. But also, to play devil's advocate, you could argue perhaps that minute signs before the game in the Champions League could actually disrupt maybe the crowd noise and the floor a little bit. So yeah, I can understand all around. We get it done today against Tottenham. Let's give them a real sign of respect, appreciate a tribute, and then we'll focus on the game afterwards. But for anyone that has time in the armed forces at any of our military services, appreciate your sacrifices, and thank you so much for continuing to help this country out.
Number 17, Emil Kraft. Number 20, Anthony Alanga. Number 27, Nick Voldemade.
Tottenham's kicking off because he was tying his laces. Honestly, playing the mind game, tying his laces, and then they're pushing all players over because they're scored. Palmer, honestly, still tying his laces. Palmer.
First goal of the game for Newcastle United. Goal scorer, number 5, Fabian Schär.
A team that's terrible on set pieces once again has been brutalised by a set piece. They can win you all they want. You were tying your laces, how's that all from? Oh, come on. Big Nick Voldemade, took nothing all game, and yet again he scores. Class from the back from Chow, playing it up, Willick with a little dink into the box, and that is Nick Voldemade. Next to my Champions League, come on. Come on. Fair enough, but it's not Champions League, is it? Last kick of the game. Ooh. There we are.
That's full time at St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, Spurs 0. Other games happening tonight in the Carabao Cup. Full time at Wolves versus Chelsea. Wolves 3, Chelsea 4. Swansea City 1, Man City 3.
Crystal Palace have won 3-0 against Liverpool. Chelsea were late scare against Wolves
0. Crystal Palace 3.
That's the shocker once again. Palace. I say a shocker actually. Palace seem to be Liverpool every time now. Chelsea just about past Wolves. Rest of the matches as expected. We don't get Liverpool, I'm glad to say that. crowd is buzzing after that one, and so they should be. Full time at St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, Tottenham 0. Do you want to hear a couple of nice facts? I've got a good one for you. Tottenham was the final Big Six team that Newcastle, since the takeover, needed to beat in the League Cup. Liverpool, City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. It's Big Six. Every single one of them has lost to Newcastle in the League Cup over the past 3 to 4 seasons. Big Six, you mean Big Seven, because Newcastle certainly is a team that has shown time and time again they are capable of getting results against the best of the best in this country. And against Tottenham tonight, not an amazing performance, but I think we were just about better than them. I think the first half was 25 minutes or so, started well, got the opening goal, then completely dropped off and Tottenham came into the game, but were unable to take their chances. Start the second half, of course, header in the back of the net, 2-0, game over. They weren't coming back from 2-0 down. And that was a Tottenham team that's actually conceded 14 goals in the last 4 games at St James's Park. 14 goals in 4 matches, and that is a horrific record at St James's Park for a team that again tonight struggled to get going. They can't get going at this stadium. Newcastle, despite not having an amazing performance, I think did deserve to go through. I think it was a good win in the end, and you have to say 5 wins in our last 6 games. No idea who we're playing in the quarter-final. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion now. I do not mind any team at home. Even if it's City, Arsenal, Chelsea, I don't mind it, because I would rather get these teams in the quarter-final than the semi-final. At St James's Park, I back us beat anyone. 2 legs against City, against Arsenal. Yes, we did it against Arsenal last season, but this season are good, to be fair. I'm not convinced the 2 legs against these sides. I don't think across 2 legs is realistic, so I would rather get these teams in the quarter-final. That being said, as long as it's not those 3 teams away, I'll take any away match as well. Of course, I would ideally want the easiest possible fixture, but any team, St James's Park, I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it. But yeah, of course, that's the look ahead at. That'll be out by the time you guys are watching this video. I just have to say, I think in terms of Newcastle's performance tonight, in terms of the rotated players, I think Ramsdale was probably the big one I was happy with. He had a real solid performance at the back. Made a couple of crucial saves, very good saves as well, to keep Newcastle in the game at decisive moments. Thought Willock was half decent actually, Alan, mate. I thought Joe Willock was alright, to be fair. He wasn't too bad. Other than that, I was hoping again, like Solango, going to get an opportunity to him. He was a bit unlucky not to score towards the end of the game, but he desperately needs to score. I think once he scores one, he'll get it off the back of his head, and then he'll be able to kick on and do well. But desperately, I want to see like Solango get that moment for Newcastle, because so far I haven't quite been able to do that. Hello, bud. Let's see about your eyes. Yeah, all players, I was happy. Probably the regulars you expected. He was class, wasn't he? Nick Waltmore didn't have much to do but scored his chance when he got it. And Newcastle were just solid attacking the areas. I thought we were actually a lot more clinical than we tend to be. Harvey Barnes, of course, missed a big chance towards the end of the first half, but I think that is harder to score than it looks. The ball's just about behind him. Was only able to fully whip it into the corner from what was a bit of an overhead kick from him. Shaw made it 1-0. Tottenham players contesting to the referee. I've got no idea what they are contesting about, by the way, because they've actually had a player tie his shoelaces. He tied his shoelaces and then went away from the corner. We took the corner and scored. So how they contested that, I will never know, because it was them who were tying shoelaces and taking forever to allow us to put the ball into the box. And a team that's terrible at defending set pieces conceded a set piece against Newcastle. And yeah, from that point onwards, to be fair to Tottenham, they weren't half bad. I still think, as a Tottenham fan, walked away from that game, I think there are positives there. I think in terms of their actual play towards the end of the first half, Newcastle couldn't get anything there. Tottenham were first in every ball, they were moving it around well, and Newcastle were struggling at times, which Tottenham just didn't take their chances. They had a real good ball at the back post, but Charleston's not on the end of it. They had a couple of chances at the end of the first half. They've got to put one away, in my opinion. I really feel like they should be putting one of those chances away. Newcastle's second half had a couple of chances we should have scored. Willock with such an easy header, he just put it wide somehow. We then made it 2-0. Other than that, we had a few chances here and there. It was just all Newcastle once it was 2-0. You could tell Tottenham, once they were 2-0 down, they knew they weren't getting back into that game. It was such a killer moment for us just to properly pick them off. And thing is, right, we've won 5 of our last 6 games, and even today when I look at the performance, I still think we can play better. I still watch that performance, and I still look at performers in that team, and I still don't think that's Newcastle at their best, and that's 5 wins in our last 6 games. With the exception of the 2 Champions League matches, league-wise, I still don't think Newcastle's at their best. In the Cup tonight, I don't think Newcastle's still at their best, and yet we're winning games. What does that tell you about the team? I don't think we're playing as well as we could do, and we're still winning, so it just shows you the level of quality. And I had to say as well, that bench tonight, I actually looked at Newcastle's lineup, I was like, well, that's a cracking team, that. I look at the bench, and I'm just thinking, well, the bench has got so many good players in it. I was actually shocked when I looked at the team, because it looked like a strong 11, and then it was actually probably about 6 or 7 players rotated out. It was still effectively, in some areas, Newcastle's second string squad, which is quality, because the team's got real good players in there now, and it's actually a sight to behold watching Newcastle play with a good start 11 and a good bench. You know, I've been waiting so long to say that, but yeah, a lot of positives tonight. Again, we just have to wait and see. We get in the draw. Liverpool is out, so thank the Lord we can't get Liverpool. That was the one team, I'm going to be real with you, deep down I was a bit worried. I think especially after the cup final last year, Liverpool revenge has almost got that story written in the stars. Hasn't happened. Palace 3-0 win. Liverpool put a honking team out. The new Palace was going to trump them. And yeah, honest slot. If the pressure wasn't on them already, there's real pressure on them now. 3-0 at home at Palace is a shocker result. And yeah, listen, they're out. Thank you, Palace. And I'm hoping Palace gets the likes of City and Arsenal, because they're a real team that's awkward to deal with. They're a team that's a bit like Newcastle as well. They're looking to win silverware again this season. So I'm hoping we stay away from Palace. I'm hoping Palace in the background just continue to do that job, and to just get some of these huge sides out of the competition, and then Newcastle will have a nicer run perhaps. But I don't want to jinx anything. What will be. Anyone at home I'd take. Away match is okay, as long as it's not City, Arsenal or Chelsea. Any of those 3 away, and it's a disaster draw in my opinion. Take care, guys. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.